Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets out there, and thank you for tuning into your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. And this week it is with Ginger, so y'all are lucky you don't have to listen to me. Gingy, how's it going?
What up, Donkey? What up, Donk Nation? Ginger in the house. We're talking Steelers, baby. But boy, oh boy. Should have been here last week. That game, a little bit better to talk about than what I just witnessed a couple hours ago, Donkey. We can get into it in
you
detail.
Didn't like the Carolina one?
I saw a lot more of the Carolina offense than I did the Steeler offense. Time of possession was brutal. Just brutal.
That it was. Offensive line play, subpar again, but I know you want to talk about last week, so I already put my thoughts out there. I'll let you just have the floor, and then I'll see where it goes.
Hey, seeing Ben out there commanding the first team offense, formidable, Donkey. When they're in rhythm, formidable. I really like Najee's explosiveness. Overall, though, the biggest thing to me, aside from Ben, aside from all that business, Freiermuth in the red zone. Okay, we haven't seen them type of hands in the red zone since Heath, and I'd like to see him keep that up.
Put in some regular season stuff like that, and I will certainly be a believer. The signs are definitely encouraging in of itself. But I'm always one of those more, I look for schematic things in the preseason, but I really expect you to prove it during the season.
Oh, it has to be that way, Donkey, but this is all we got to watch right now. So I'm gonna comment on it.
For the rookies, it's really all you have to watch.
It's true. That's very true. More worrisome, Donkey, is what we've talked about all offseason, the end of last season, the season before that, and the season before that, is the defense in the seams up the middle. That didn't look good last week. That didn't necessarily look any better today.
Nope. We added Joe Schobert, and first week he's here, he gets beaten 2 or 3 times by a tight end running back. Today was it Spillane getting torched, Gilbert getting torched. Marcus Allen actually looked good, but then guess what happened? The same thing happens every time Marcus Allen is on the field for more than 10 plays. He got hurt. Like, the dude is just unreliable, to be nice, I guess.
Yeah, he can make the plays, but not consistently. I don't know, Donkey. I don't know where I stand on all this. I not a ton of depth anywhere.
About zero. Like, if you watch today's game, which was our backups going against a mix of starters and backups for Carolina, they're playing a little more starters than we were. I don't think there was very many people who belonged on the field. Like, our backups just looked outmatched when they went against the players. And those are low-end starters if they're in Carolina right now. Let's not joke. That team's not full of superstars. They looked outmatched. The corners struggled a little bit. I mean, James Pierre looked okay. He was about the only one. On the defensive line, you could say Buggs played okay, and Wormley looked okay.
I like Wormley's play tonight. I did.
Outside of them and B.J. Finney, I'm not sure there's a backup I'm willing to let see the field that isn't a wide receiver.
Yeah, we're having a problem at corner. The boys in the booth in Pittsburgh really trying to sell me on Trey Norwood. No, thank you.
The no hands, never in the right spot, Swiss cheese, Swiss Army knife.
You mean just not making tackles, Donkey? Listen, I'm no defensive expert or anything like that, but I'll tell you, he's missing He had a couple open opportunities that were blown tonight, and that's not the first time.
It's true. He's not.
He did. I mean, he caught a pick. What was it, last week before, or the game before? I can't remember which one. I know he has one this preseason, but a lot of areas.
It had to be one of those two. Yeah.
Need help. Running back. Benny Snell is Benny Snell. Not necessarily exciting. Too much back there. I didn't see McFarland tonight. We saw.
No, he did not play.
We saw a little bit of ballage, and Pierre putting the rock on the ground, was it? Who was Austin James? Austin James, yeah.
Brooks, whatever.
Yeah. He put the ball on the ground after a solid run where he totally blew it at the end. Really unfortunate.
As you talk about putting the ball on the ground, I'm getting eaten by dinosaurs.
Fumblerooski on the arc.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are some interesting position battles going, like punter.
Oh, really exciting.
Both Jordan Berry
and Preslin Harvin both look like NFL starters at punter.
Correct. I 100% agree. We had a little conversation about this before. I think Harvin's going to be more consistent, and Barry's going to always be a little bit erratic. That's how he's been his whole career. But he's not NFL caliber. To me, this punting battle should come down to who Chris Boswell is comfortable with as the holder. That's what it should be, in my opinion.
I don't know. Maybe one other X factor there, Donkey. I hear that Presley has an arm. We might be able to throw a little trickery into Danny Smith's punting unit that way. I don't think Jordan Berry has an arm.
I don't want Danny Smith to try to do anything but the basics. Okay, like he can't get the fucking basics right. He can't get the basics right. We are not doing anything until you can master how to cover a damn punt and kick. Okay. Until then, Danny Smith should not be allowed to talk about trick punts until he learns how to do a real punt.
I like myself a little trickery, Donkey.
Me too, but I don't.
October's not too far away.
Right, he tries to do trickery. Next thing you know, we're running into our own end zone. We tricked him there, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Stop killing me, dinosaur! I just want my loot back. Another interesting one. Last corner on the roster, and I think this is where my surprise for the roster will be. I think Lafayette Pitts makes the team.
Ooh.
They were putting him in with the first team coverage team today, I think, to see how he did, and he did pretty good as side gunner. He's a guy who already has an interception this preseason. So I think you might see a little sneak in of Lafayette Pitts.
Let's go. I'm not opposed to that.
Also, I'm saying that because Pitt prejudice comes out here, but watching him get the first team reps on the punt coverage team made me think, hey, maybe there's a chance here, because you didn't see guys like Gilbert or them covering punts, and you have to assume one of like Gilbert, Brown, or Pitts makes the team. So
I think it's probably Pitts between those two.
Stop eating me. I just want to get my loot back.
Kicking some
Then
ass,
let's
Donkey.
see. Where else should we go? Middle linebacker, backup, third, fourth, or fifth one? What you looking at there? Any of those guys actually impress you to where you're like, I care at all who makes it?
Not really. I mean, you guys, we got middle linebackers right now. Let's talk about who's gonna be on the field. Last year was a lot of Robert Spillane. He is not impressing me this preseason.
No. He's the same guy he was before. A half step slow, but a good tackler. Put him in coverage, it's game over, and make him have to run to the sideline, it's a little bit of a struggle. Very, very much a la Vince Williams, but doesn't have that blitz ability that made Vince Williams special, right?
Vince Williams had an edge to him as well. I don't know, Donkey. Just call it a feeling.
Then we can get down to the fifth receiver battle, I guess is what it is. You have guys like Sexton, Ray McLeod. Sexton fumbling a punt today. Ray dropping some passes, though he did catch the meaningless touchdown from Dwayne Haskins at the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Can I say none of the above? Go out and sign a veteran to teach these young receivers how to be young receivers. Am I allowed to make that my choice?
I like Ray McLeod myself. That's my choice.
I can see that. I mean, potential to bust open games, but I really just want a veteran on units to teach these guys how to be professionals. Which brings me to my next battle, and this is a fun one for you. So, it's going to be a two-parter. You got Watt versus Edmonds for roster breakdown, right?
Okay.
And it's a little confusing. I'm not talking TJ Watt versus Terrell Edmonds. I'm talking Trey Edmonds versus Derek Watt. Why he's not a DJ, I don't know. Someone messed up somewhere, right?
Ha. Agreed.
So, does one of them have the slight edge? I don't really know. I haven't been impressed by either of them. But to be fair, Edmonds to me is a little more explosive, and I might consider keeping him because then he could be your number 4 running back, which lets me get rid of both Benny Snell and Jalen Samuels, who, sorry, good luck, good riddance. Like, 3 years we've been waiting on one of them, 4 on the other, and they've seemingly gotten worse every year since we drafted them. Both of them, their time to shine was their rookie season, and since they have just been like, well, you remember what we did as a rookie, right? Yeah. What have you done recently?
Yeah, I'm not impressed by Benny Snell at this point in his preseason. He didn't show me anything special.
No, not at all.
Going back to Trey Edmonds though. I don't know. I feel like Edmonds has a better chance to make you a play in clutch moments, but Donkey, it's about utilization in different packages. I'm not sure whether Derek is more useful there or Edmonds in those situations. I'd have to say Edmonds. That doesn't make me happy to say though, because it doesn't seem like the right choice.
Which more talented brother do you want to keep happy? I have a feeling that's what it's going to come down to, and that's why Derek Watt is going to stay.
That sounds reasonable, because we better get TJ's deal done this week, beginning of next week.
Anyone who stuck out from you in today's game where you're like, man, that's a backup who, if they get on the field, you know what? There's going to be some things done.
I don't know. I feel like we talked about the lack of depth, right, Donkey? I feel like where we do have the most chance though at depth is defensive line, and Isaiah Buggs could have an opportunity in there on a rotation switch, on a rest down for one of those guys in there. I think that's a viable roster guy.
He is. I think both Buggs and Wormley showed they deserve to be on the roster. And I'm going to say something really controversial here. The Steelers should only keep 5 defensive linemen. Hear me out on it. I don't want you to go crazy, right? Because you're like, 5 defensive linemen, what the hell is wrong with you, right? Is that your initial thought?
Yeah. That's dangerous.
All right, so hear me out on this. So the next 3 defensive linemen are Carlos Davis, Isaiah Loudermilk, and Henry Mondu, if you keep the 5 I listed above. What I want to do is I want to keep Josh Dobbs on the roster because I don't think you can sneak him into the practice squad. The reason I say that is Josh Dobbs is apparently good with Ben, which is one thing. But I think if you go into a game where you need to win one game, you want a quarterback who doesn't run your normal game plan so you can confuse the other team. I think that guy is Josh Dobbs.
And this is
Here's the other part of it.
Mm-hmm. So that you said keeping 4 quarterbacks, you're talking about Dwayne Haskins making this roster.
Yeah, I don't see how Dwayne Haskins doesn't make this roster at this time. I mean, there's a reason they let him start. There's a reason he went 30,000 times. And let's be honest, if you're just looking at the future, which these backup quarterbacks are all kept here for the future, Dwayne Haskins has a better chance of being something than Josh Dobbs. I'm not going to pretend he doesn't because that would just be silly. So, yeah, no doubt it is Dwayne Haskins is a guy who you look at. But I think Dobbs, out of all the backups for a 1 game, not an extended time, but a 1 game absence of Ben, gives you the best chance of winning that game. And here's my other reasoning behind that. I think between Davis, Mondu, and Loudermilk, who they might keep on the roster because we can't admit that we were stupid by trading up to draft a guy that no one else wanted. That's not the Steeler way, so that's not going to happen. I'm afraid they're going to keep him. But the reason I would love to see them do this is you could sneak one of them onto the practice squad. And we're back to like the practice squad rules where you get to do crazy stuff, right? So you're talking, you can protect 4 practice squad players, essentially meaning no one else can take them. You can also promote 2 players from your practice squad to play in every week's game. So what I'm saying is the Steelers sneak in and one of those guys gets an active roster every day, whether it be Mondu for the better special teams deal, whether it be Loudermilk because, once again, we drafted him and he looks good against non-NFL players, a la 4 stringers. Or whether it's Davis, I don't know if it's Carlos, but Davis, because, we drafted him last year. He's shown some signs a little bit here. I mean, nothing consistent. But I would love to see him try to do something tricky like that so that for the instance, like, do you really believe Ben's going to have back-to-back seasons where he's healthy the full year?
Yes, I do.
No. Okay, someone's drinking too much of the copioid and, or copium and, too much of the Steeler Kool-Aid.
Yummy.
Okay, well, outside of that, I don't think Ben stays healthy for another full year. That's just not a Ben thing. He's done it, once in his career, he's been healthy full back-to-back seasons?
If you keep letting that ball rip in under 2.5 seconds per play, you're not going to get hit a ton, donkey.
You say that, but Ben had a knee injury last year that you could definitely see the play substantially get worse.
He got a little crunched in Dallas. He did.
That was with a better offensive line than we have this year. Fair?
We'll have to see, donkey. I know you don't believe, but BJ Finney's the man.
Even if he is the man, I don't think our tackles look very good to this point. And that's a big part of the offensive line is your offensive tackles. So I'll let you have your belief that this offensive line looks better than they did last year. I'll let you have that. But I still think you need to have that ability to win a game Ben's going to miss. Because Ben's going to miss a game. And this year, I don't feel the Steelers have the ability to lose a game Ben misses. If it's a winnable game. I don't think you can lose Ben, go to, let's say a Cincinnati, and lose that game and still make the playoffs. This is not a team that's going to lose to Cincinnati and make the playoffs. Is that a fair thing to say?
That's true. Definitely not. We need we need all those gimme games that you can get. Because this schedule's a nightmare from Thanksgiving on.
Agreed. So what I think you need to do is find a way to make sure you sneak in those wins if, for some reason, you're not going to do it. And I think Josh Dobbs is the best chance of sneaking you a singular game win.
Oh, I hope we don't see a position without Ben or Mason. That's going to be bad
long term,
news.
I think Mason's the better option long term, but I think for a one game thing, like I said, I think just because you can give people something they haven't seen and win with it, let's be honest, the Steelers played a lot worse against an unknown in Finley in Cincinnati than we did when we knew what was going on against Cincinnati. There's a reason for that. When coordinators don't have tape on someone, they tend to not do as good. For whatever reason.
You can't prepare specifically. Can't game plan towards their weakness.
Exactly.
If you don't know what their strength is. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying you put in a Josh Dobbs and you trick them for a week.
There's tape on Dobbs out there, though.
Not running a Matt Canada offense. So if we're going to believe that Matt Canada runs a different offense than the Ben Roethlisberger special that we've been seeing for so many years, then you have to believe.
And let me justify my point in terms of what I'm saying about the offensive line. Okay, I think that this offensive line has specific talents that last year's offensive line didn't have, and specific weaknesses that last year's offensive line did not have. So I think that it's gonna be reversed a little bit. I think the pass coverage might not be as good, but the run blocking is better. I feel like this is a better run blocking offensive line, and hear me out on this, donkey. Run blocking changes this offense. 30 second offense ranked offense last year in a run game. If you allow this offense, if this offense went 12-0 and everybody knew what was happening, basically after from week 5 on, is basically what we hypothesized last year, right? Pretty much everyone, week 5, week 6, people pretty much knew what was going to happen. We did on that Steelers offense, so I'm sure everybody else
To be
did.
fair, anyone who watches Steelers football has been able to couch call plays since Todd Haley was here.
Okay, I'll give you that one, but I'm just saying, if we knew, everybody else knew. But if you added a play action pass, donkey, I'm thinking that you go to the next level and that changes the team football, right? So when I say that this offensive line is better per se, and you lose Marquise Pouncey and you lose David DeCastro, okay, I'm not going to say that Hassenauer and Finney, are going to be those guys. But at the same time, Donkey, I think the way that the offense is developing, it plays to certain strengths that can behoove us moving forward. That's my call.
I hear what you're saying, and I'll riddle you with this. Our yards per carry in the preseason, even when the starters were in, were worse than last year. I'm sorry if you're not going to sell me on this team's a better run blocking unit when I went out there and I saw them run for negative yards more often than over 5. When I saw these running backs having to make moves in the backfield, you know what that reminds me of? Last year when every play James Conner had to make someone miss in the backfield. What's more alarming to me is while Najee Harris is a better home run threat because he has that top end gear that James Conner didn't have, James Conner is a far more elusive back than Najee Harris. So what could make Najee better than James Conner with the line the way it is right now is availability. Because I'm not going to argue to anyone that says, well, the best availability or best ability of a running back is availability. I hear you. I actually agree with you. But what I'm going to say is Najee Harris has not done anything to make me think he's going to be more effective running the football than James Conner was. Because he is not as elusive as Conner. He's a better top-end runner, no doubt about that. But I don't know if being a better top-end runner really helps the Steelers in this circumstance.
I disagree with you, Donkey. I think a top-end running back gives you the same leverage in the run game that a top-end wide receiver does. Okay, when you have a burner on that unit, he doesn't have to be the best guy in the NFL. He can be Mike Wallace or Martavis Bryant.
I have one question for you.
He can be Mike Wallace or Martavis Bryant, and he can change that unit.
Yeah, but that's because receivers only touch the ball 10 times a game, and when they're out there, you have to cover them because that one touch could be a touchdown. What time did Najee Harris ever touch the football as a running back that made you think he could go to the house? This whole preseason.
Well, there was one play in particular last week where
when he lined up as a slot receiver.
Yeah, and that's something James Conner didn't have.
Again, what play? So right there, he's just a wide receiver. What play as a running back did he touch the football and make you think he could go to the house? None is the answer. Unless you want to be crazy, none's the answer. That's the point. Nothing's changed with this run game. So if you're saying the run game's going to make the pass game better, the run game actually has to be better. And we haven't seen that. And that's what's alarming here, is none of these guys, when you look at the talent level, the only talent level that's better is you could argue Najee Harris. The offensive line is clearly a step back. They've shown it in the preseason. Is the ability to be a step forward there? Yeah, but we're not seeing that yet. You have to see it before you can say it. The NFL is not a league where you win based off potential. It's a league where you win off what shows up on Sundays.
I agree. I'm really looking forward.
Otherwise, would Aaron Rodgers ever have lost a Super Bowl in the last 10 years? No, but the thing is the dude didn't have anybody else other than him show up on Sundays.
He has a hell of a running back up there, Donkey. Now he does anyway.
You have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
You do notice the things about teams that have good running backs, you know what all of them have in common?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how else do the Colts keep drafting third-string running backs that make the Pro Bowl?
First off, Jonathan Taylor falling that far is a travesty because Jonathan Taylor, if you watched him in college, was an absolute stud.
I don't remember what round he was drafted in. I thought it was third. I'm not sure, though. Mack was a first-round guy, wasn't he?
It was a mid-round guy, yeah, and he was an absolute stud in college. And anyone who's watching me just get repetitively killed in this game is because I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm too busy talking, so don't judge too hard.
You found the dinosaurs, didn't you, donkey?
No, it was the dark and I couldn't see anything, and something just decided to come attack me. Apparently this dinosaur glows in the dark. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think there is potential for this offense to be better than last year. Don't get me wrong. Ben staying healthy would be a big thing for step one. That offensive line gelling together would be a big thing for step two. That's why I wanted to see all the starters play again today. Because let's be honest, they have no time together. And one of the biggest things you need for an offensive line to get good is time together. And this we have not seen. This we have not given them. And when we have given them, they didn't look good. You can say what you want, but the offensive line play when Ben played wasn't good. He had to be twinkle toes vintage Ben 3 seconds into the game because Zach Banner can't fucking block. Let's be honest. In pass blocking, Zach Banner might be one of the worst pass blockers I've ever seen. And then you mix that, you have Chuck Okorafor on the other side, and that dude couldn't generate a push if you needed him to, but he's decent at pass blocking. It's like our offensive line is built to be a conglomerate of meh. We have a bunch of undersized guys or a bunch of oversized guys. There's no well-roundedness here in this group. We have 3 guys who are good at run blocking and 2 guys who are good at pass blocking, which means when we go as a whole, we're not good at anything.
It means we're gonna run. It means we're gonna run to the right side and throw to the left, donkey.
That would work, except our right guard or our left guard, if it's going to be Dotson, is arguably our worst pass blocker.
I'm sorry. We have to make cuts somewhere, okay? I'd say we run right.
What I'm really nervous about, Gingy, is I'm thinking at least the way things are constructed right now. And all can change because these guys can start stepping up. They can start playing better. Do they have the potential? Clearly. That's why almost all these guys were draft picks and 4th round or earlier draft picks. And if you're in those rounds, that means you're getting drafted because you have the talent to start in the NFL. That normally 4th round and before are guys who have the talent level to be NFL players, is the way it's seen. So you're talking all NFL talent here on this line. There is the potential for them to get really good. It has not shown itself yet, let's be honest. What I'm afraid of is if it doesn't show itself and we're at the same 3.5 yard per carry Steelers, if we become the 50 passes a game Steelers, I don't think Ben's arm can hold up to it.
No, the 50 passes a game Steelers is a losing battle, donkey. I will 100% admit that. My whole faith on this offense, from the last game of last season until this game, I've preached running game and play action. That's the only way this works. If it's more of the same, we see what that does. Get 12 and 0.
I hope beyond hope you're right, but I haven't seen any push from that offensive line that makes me think a run game will be scary enough that people won't just play us the way they did at the end of last year, which is when we got exposed, when people realized, wait a minute, they can't throw it over the top because they can't block long enough to throw it over the top. And if they do, Ben's less than 50-50 now in his career to hit the pass. So
here's what you got to do, donkey.
And let's be honest,
you got to commit, donkey.
You're skipping a big part of that 11-0. You really think this defense is as good as last year's?
No comment.
Yeah, exactly. So you're talking this offense has to take a step up because that defense is most likely going to take a step back. I hope they do. I believe they can. I really do believe they can. What scares me is the hard part of the schedule, as you said, is the end of the schedule, and we need to get off to a fast start, and I'm scared if we don't get off to a fast start what that could do to this team.
That secondary is so scary. Joe Hayden.
You mean bad?
Scary bad. Yeah, scary as in I'm scared they're going to give up a touchdown on a regular basis.
Yeah, every one of them has gotten burned deep by backups this preseason. Yeah, that did not make me feel good.
No, there's not a ton of top end speed on any of them guys.
Hey, maybe it just gives Minkah. Hey, we could take this the good way. Our corners get burned, means Minkah has more chances to make a play.
He better, but they also got Terrell Edmonds.
Hey, I already told you. My biggest thing for the year is good old Boogie Edmonds is going to play so good he earns a big extension in Pittsburgh. I already told you this.
You think so?
Yeah, I already told you. My big prediction is Boogie Edmonds is he's gonna show people something this year, dude.
Now,
I think Terrell's coming out.
Okay. All right, Donkey. You ride me on all
There's
these
absolutely
guys,
no.
man,
First off, before you call me,
playing off the potential. Okay, and Terrell Edmonds is the definition of hoping on potential. We've been waiting, Donkey.
The potential wasn't even that high for Terrell Edmonds. This is just for some reason, I don't know. There's something in my gut that tells me, hey, ignore statistics, ignore what you see. Boogie Edmonds is coming to play. All right? That's all I'm saying. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, mark my words. And in 17 weeks, everybody, please feel free to come back and tell me how wrong I was. But Boogie Edmonds is going to rock it.
We shall see, Donkey. We shall see. Week 1 will tell. 2 weeks from now.
By the way, one last thing for me to cover. Can we finally put to bed the fact that everyone who thinks Dwayne Haskins should be the backup can just shut up now and stop being just pure Mason Rudolph haters? Are we allowed to say that now?
Oh, you know me, Donkey. I've spewed a moderate amount of Mason Rudolph hate on this show, and Dwayne Haskins ain't the guy. I'm going to tell you that. Mason Rudolph, definitely the guy. Definitely the guy behind Ben. No question.
All right, well, I think we did a good job covering the roster. It was a little fun. Good to have Gingy back. Gingy, got anything else you want to touch on? The people are here to hear you, not me.
Oh.
I annoy them.
Come on, Donkey. We love it. We love it, man. We gaming. I love gaming and talking sports, man. We are at the end of the preseason here, folks. The Steelers have put the team on the field 4 times. We've seen some good, we've seen some bad, we've seen some ugly.
Ben and Pat Firemuth, he said good. I'm looking at you two.
Firemuth. Let's go, Donkey. There's a pair of hands in the red zone.
I have one request. Woo. Please don't ever put that man in on a running down.
Woo! Decoy, baby. Decoy. Decoys, Donkey. Love it.
He's one of them new wide receiver tight end types.
You miss seeing a guy for Ben who has clutch hands. You know, he's had one his whole career in terms of clutch hands.
Sorry, you got bug-a-bombed there. We're playing Ark, buddy.
He knows.
Go inside.
He knows. Real knows real. Real knows real, Donkey.
Say, what'd you say? Here we go, Steelers. He ran away from me. He normally will chant with me, but he knows I'm on my show, so he's being pissed. Oh, let's go Paw Patrol. All right, hater. All right, Gingy, back to your point.
No, we are rocking it, Donkey. I'm feeling pretty good about getting into the season. Like I said, we put 4 games on the field, Donkey. Good, bad, and ugly. And it's nice to see Ben have hopefully that's the beginnings of a sure pair of hands in the red zone. I was talking about, historically the sure-handed folks that Ben has had throughout his career being Hines Ward, Heath Miller, Antonio Brown. One of those guys on the roster at all times. And since the loss of Antonio, I don't know if we've had a real hands guy, per se. Lockdown hands guy. Let's hope the Firemouth is the guy, man.
Yes, nothing but positives to him. I certainly hope you're right on that. Week 1, measuring stick game, truthfully coming up.
Big time. Two
week
weeks,
1,
Donkey. 2 weeks till week 1, and we're talking at Buffalo. Oh my.
It's definitely a measuring stick. Yep.
That's one of your top three
You're
in the
talking
AFC.
after week 1. After week 1, you get your first Donk Nation ever power rankings of actual in-season stuff. So that'll be fun.
Let's go.
After week 4, you get your first Donk Nation betting update, but I'm just telling you right now, don't bet it until after week 8 because there's not enough statistical data for it to matter.
Rock on, Donkey.
Got to keep some stuff happy for the people. Got to keep them entertained somehow, because it definitely is not my voice that's doing it.
Let's
so I
go,
gotta find
Donkey.
something that
I
does
tell you
it.
what, you're plenty entertaining over there. We're gonna see how entertaining you are when Ben Roethlisberger gets on that field, vintage baby, and he's putting that pump fake down like he did last week, and the whole camera just shook. He shook the camera.
Hey, you want to remember who was the only guy supporting Ben Roethlisberger going into the playoffs last year? Do you want to say who it was? Do you want to say who said, you know what? I've been telling my wife all year we need to see 500-yard, 4-touchdown Ben Roethlisberger. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah,
That's right, it was me. And do you remember what happened? 500-yard, 4-touchdown Ben Roethlisberger. I'm just not going to talk about the other stats, all right?
Oh my. Oh my. See that, Donkey? Right there? That's raw entertainment. Let's go, Steelers. Here we go. It's my favorite season, folks. Gingy back in the house.
It's my favorite time.
Watching football.
It's my favorite time. It's time for shout-outs. Gingy, hit him up.
Man, shout out this week. Donkey, you caught me slipping on the shout out. I will, however, shout out to my favorite battle this preseason. All right, recapping preseason football. Shout out to the punting battle between Presley Harvin and Jordan Berry. I don't know which one of them boys is gonna start out there, Donkey, but shout out to them both for giving me the most intriguing punter battle that I've seen probably ever.
It is true. That was a.
It's a pleasure. You know, you got to take the play. That's a legitimate battle with two guys who can start anywhere, Donkey.
If we drafted and then failed to keep a fat punter, I'm going to be
so you know, if Gingy don't show love for a good starting position battle, man, shout out to them. Who you got, Donkey?
I have to give my absolute shout out to the one, the only, Ben Roethlisberger. Watching him out there actually going to the quarterbacks, checking on the quarterbacks, and working with the quarterbacks in this preseason game made me happy because that's not something Ben's really been great at or really been good at. And watching him going out there and doing it, you know what? Maybe he will be a good mentor this year to him, and I like seeing it. So I have to give a shout out to a guy who didn't play in Ben Roethlisberger because, you know what? Legends should do that. They should pass on the legacy.
Right on, Donkey.
Anyway, it's that time again. Gingy, you know what to do.
Hell yeah. Steelers Nation. I'm Mutant Gingy, playing Xbox Live. Donkey's going to have all his stuff probably written down below. And Steelers Nation, we're back in season. Wave 'em if you got 'em.